Hey, this is Derica Fomasili, and welcome to the Happiness Recipe Summit, where top experts are revealing their secret ingredients so you can create your own recipe for happiness. And today's vital ingredient is all about learning how to trust and trust again. I feel like because a lot of us, we're born trusting, but along the way we kind of lost that. And so this whole interview is all about learning how to trust again, and not just in ourselves, so not just you and your magic and your abilities, but also in the process, in the people that are around you, your co-creators, maybe the God that you believe in, you want to trust in more, maybe the universe, maybe the laws of our planet. So this interview is all about trusting again, and I'm very excited to announce our guest expert today, who is the master in teaching folks how to trust again, and I'll have a story about that later. Maude Schellhaus, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Derica. I'm really excited to be here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to read her phenomenal bio here so you guys can get to know her just a little bit more. Maude Schellhaus founded Sacramento Hypnotherapy over 25 years ago, following her completion as training and certified clinical hypnotherapy in 1995. She went on to achieve her certificate of behavioral therapy in 1999 and has since helped thousands of people reach their goals and often achieve what they did not even think was possible. I love that part. I love that. It is Maud's belief that discovering inner wisdom holds a path to many different areas of our subconscious, where we can unlock blockages that can hold us back mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Oh, and also physically. This is very true. She continues to grow as a hypnotherapist and is most proud when she is able to facilitate showing others what is possible by accessing the power that is already inside of them. In 2013, if that wasn't enough, in 2013, Maud founded the California School of Hypnotherapy and has since had the pleasure of instructing, teaching others to achieve their career goals in the field of hypnotherapy. Wow. Thank you, Maud. Woo, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, that was beautiful. All right, so let's jump on in. And can you share a little bit more about you and how you became a hypnotherapist?
Sure. So the first thing that comes to mind is that I was listening to you reading my bio. Every time I hear that I've been a hypnotherapist for more than 25 years, I think, wait, really? Could that really be true? Because you know how when you're having a really good time, time just flies by. I can tell you that I have been having a really good time utilizing hypnotherapy and working with so many people for over 25 years, and it just doesn't seem like it's possible that it's been that long. And when you asked me how I came into hypnotherapy, it made me chuckle a little bit because I knew nothing about hypnotherapy when I first began. Absolutely zero. I just saw the same ad for the same school everywhere that I looked for a couple of weeks. And I walked into the class after following a huge rainbow in the sky from another city to the city where the training was. And the instructor, as you know, Derica, Jim DiGirolamo, just an amazing instructor and person, was teaching about something that had really nothing to do with hypnotherapy. He was talking about when it's okay to leave someone, um, which really, again, has nothing to do with hypnotherapy, but I was struggling in a marriage, and it was just a moment of exactly the right place at the right time, hearing exactly what you needed to know, even if you might have heard it, a million times before. Just in that moment, was exactly what I needed to hear. And that is what brought me into hypnotherapy, oddly enough. And then the next 2 times that I went to class, there was a huge rainbow in the sky.
I love that. I love it.
So I have always felt as if I hadn't a clue, and then the universe just picked me up and put me down and said, now you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it even more than I did when I first started. And if you had told me that in the beginning, I probably would never have believed you, because I loved it so much right from the very beginning.
Wow, that's such a beautiful story. The synchronicity, so we can look out and see these breadcrumbs unfolding, these little signs we get that, okay, we're on the right track now. Like we're there, this is what we needed, and you just kept seeing those rainbows and those messages, and now here you are 25 years later. Wow.
Yeah, I bet this is not the first time synchronicities come up within your happiness summit.
No, it all is. There is no coincidences. Like I truly believe that now. It's if we just take a moment to stop and think about these magical things around us, it's all meant to be. It's all a part of us unfolding. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Can you tell for the folks that has never heard of hypnotherapy before, can you explain what is that?
Definitely. And a lot of people haven't heard of hypnotherapy before, or they're only familiar from what we see on TV and movies, with hypnosis. So, hypnosis is used for all kinds of different things. And quite often, when we see it portrayed, it's maybe just to do some silly stage stuff, or how TV and movies are. They're usually really silly. But hypnosis can also be used for therapeutic work. So when someone is utilizing hypnotherapy, they are going into the hypnotic state, which is an incredibly relaxing and calming, just beautiful state. It's kind of nicknamed the healing state, even, because when we are in hypnosis, the subconscious mind is wide open, and the subconscious mind is almost the entire mind. We oftentimes think of the mind as being our conscious, thinking, really analytical and logical mind, but the subconscious mind is the other part of the mind that's all literal, and it holds every experience that we've ever had in our entire lives. So when someone is in hypnosis, we have access to all of that. And not only that, but the subconscious mind holds so much power and potential. And so we're accessing all of that as well. And so when I'm working with someone in hypnotherapy, what I'm doing essentially is just helping them have that access so that any blocks can be removed from the mind, that have been interfering with whatever they are moving towards in life or would love to move towards in life. And also integrating in all of the qualities that they want to enhance.
Mm, that's so beautifully said. It's a very natural state of being, right? So it's not what we most of us have heard of stage hypnosis or from the carnivals and the movies and such. It's nothing like that. I mean, that's entertainment, but it's not that process. But you explained it well by saying it's just us relaxing into more of who we are, getting down into the vault of where all of those programs and blocks live. And when we're down in there, opened up to that place of being, you're saying that's where a therapist can do their work and release the things that are ready to be released, right?
Definitely, definitely. And, I love that you said that about it not being like, that other stuff, because
Yeah.
people often think, and I actually thought too before I'd ever experienced it, that there would be a feeling of getting sleepier and sleepier to go into hypnosis, and then that might be followed by like a passing out or fainting sensation, and
Mm-hmm.
that they might wake up later going, wow, what happened?
Yeah.
And you know what? Thankfully, it's not like that. Instead, it's just a very easy flowing state of really, really deep relaxation. Oftentimes people say things like, as you know, people say things like, I've never been this relaxed in my entire life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Not out of it. They can hear us as we're speaking. It's just very, very cozy and comfortable.
Beautiful, cozy, and comfortable. And I think that everyone can relate to that state. I feel like we go in and out of hypnosis all day long with certain tasks, like when we're in the zone. I always say, kind of when we get in the zone, like in a book, a really good book or something, that's it, right? We're just like nothing else matters, and we're just cozy. We're just there, right? We're still conscious. We can
Yeah.
hear everything, but we don't want to, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really is such a natural state of mind. We go into that if we're, as you know, riding as a passenger in a car
Mm,
often, or I think for people that don't fall asleep as soon as their head hits the pillow, they can relate to this other example, which is as you're drifting towards sleep at night, but you're not quite asleep yet, but your
yeah,
thoughts have slowed down nicely, and you're just kind of half awake, half asleep. That's hypnosis.
that's it.
And
Ooh,
that feels
that's it.
good. People love that state.
I love it. Let's do it later. We will, you guys. You guys are going to experience that. We'll get to that. So I want to kind of get into the whole trust issues. What have you seen that probably most people struggle with and trusting like the most?
So I feel like it's such a great topic because people struggle with trust in so many different ways. Um, and, um, I know you said at the beginning of the segment that it's not always just trust in ourselves, but I do realize also that quite often it is. Um, that when I'm working with people, when trust comes up as an issue, around their trust in other people, quite often as we're working through it, they develop so much more trust in themselves and in the world that we live in.
Mm, absolutely.
And that tends to just branch out to trusting other people
Right.
and feeling like it's safe to do so.
Mm, absolutely. So it's usually just the person not being able to trust themselves is what you commonly see. And when it kind of all boils down to them not being able to trust maybe and their abilities, maybe what they can do. Um, but it usually stemming from themselves is what you're saying.
I would say usually, I wouldn't say every single time,
Yeah.
but I think it also becomes a little bit more complex than that, and that quite often what I'm noticing when I work with people for trust issues is that at some level, people are afraid that someone else will be able to hurt them and that they won't be okay if someone else does hurt them. So that's more of what I mean about it being about themselves, because when we are able to cultivate resilience, when we're able to cultivate so much belief in ourselves and our capacity to trust and love, then no matter what someone else does, someone else doesn't have the ability to crush us the way that we originally think can happen.
Yes.
And instead, we're able to, even if someone else does hurt us, we're able to have the resilience and the strength and the belief in ourselves, and the optimism
Mhm.
and to move forward and, perhaps put our trust and faith in other people that are more deserving of that trust.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one right there. So usually, and so what I'm saying, like for example, someone's been hurt before in a relationship and putting their heart back out there again to trust that they could have a relationship as a partner or even a best friend or something like that. Just trusting that's usually the hiccup, not being able to trust again, right? Trust that person or trust this experience or this president or whatever it is right now, right? Be able to just trust that things will work out and be okay because of X, Y, and Z, whatever happened to us in the past. But when we come into our trust, you'll notice what you're saying is that those that are trustable will kind of come in too, will mingle and have those experiences of that good honest trust there. And when we are hurt or if we're lied to or whatever, it doesn't affect us as it would have in the past because we have that resilience. We're feeling stronger and trusting in ourselves, right? So that's kind of like not a big deal anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, which can
I-
seem like, oh wow,
right.
could that really happen if we have just had something like that happen to us? If somebody has broke our trust, or oftentimes we grow up not feeling like we can trust because we didn't have role models that we could trust. Then of course it is very difficult to go out into the world and have to keep learning how to trust over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, those real, and we're going to get to those blocks, you guys, those programs, because it is challenging. It is challenging to trust again when your trust has been broken and you experience so many things like that in your life where you're afraid. You're scared to let people into your life or, to join things and a trust that things will be okay and work out when they didn't so many times in the past. So we don't discredit that at all. We know, and I'm the first person to say I totally get that, right? And I know Maud does too, where we've had our heart broken. We've had this happen to us, and through this process, we'll get down into that in a little bit and a little later here of how we can actually release those blocks. But can we relate a little bit more to the person? What have you noticed has been the root cause of trust issues? Have you seen like a common thread of maybe trials and tribulations in life?
Yeah, there is one very common thread. Again, it's not always the case, but I do see this quite often. That when people are really struggling with trust, sometimes there is a belief that they are not worthy on some level, and therefore they will be hurt when they're discovered to be unworthy.
Mm, that is so good. I know a lot of us are saying, yep, yeah, right. It was not something that I had suffered with before too. It's like, okay, if we put ourselves out there, could we follow through on this? Could we be that person that we're wanting to be or that fulfill that position we're going after and all of that? Can we do it? Are we good enough? Are we worthy for that? And that belief that contradicts that usually stops us right there. Right?
Mm-hmm. And even though it is always it's a false belief that we're not worthy, no matter who we are or what we've done or what our life experience has been or where we came from, that's always a false belief. But, there's knowing things and then there's knowing things.
Yes.
So, one of the greatest gifts I think that we can receive, and it happens so often doing this work, is that recognition that, of course, we're worthy. And once that comes in, we are able to be so much more open-hearted and to trust, because we know that no matter what happens, we are strong and we are resilient and we are worthy, and we can move forward and
Regardless, yeah. Oh, that is so beautiful. And that I love when you said it's just a false belief. It is across the board, no matter who you are, what you've been through, where you're at, you are worthy of all that you desire, and you can have it, and you're good enough to have this. That is that one truth about us all, and that power that we're so worthy, and we're so trustable, and we're so trusting, right? We are these things and we can do it. It's just getting to those darn blocks. We'll get to those darn blocks, and, get to those things, get them out of there. Can you share, Maude, a couple miracle stories? I know you have a zillion, but could you share with us a couple stories where you helped someone that was in some part of her life of not being, or his life, not being able to trust into where they are now?
Absolutely. The one that immediately springs to mind is that I worked with someone who was engaged to someone who she said was a wonderful man, completely the love of her life. And they had been together for several years, and she had not wanted to become engaged for a long time because of lack of trust. She finally had gotten engaged and decided that it was time to do something about her trust issues if she was going to actually get married, because every time her fiance was around another woman, or if they were watching TV, particularly if the women were wearing summer clothes or a bikini or something, she would feel just so jealous and insecure, and she was just this incredibly beautiful person inside and out, and he was clearly like head over heels in love with her, and all of the evidence that she had gathered was that he was clearly in love with her, but she would just constantly watch him to see if she thought that he was ever looking at another woman. And fortunately, their dialogue was very open and transparent and honest, so they talked about it quite often. And so he was even very careful to make sure that he wasn't looking at other women, because he didn't want to trigger that response. But they were constantly getting into arguments. If another woman that was attractive was anywhere around them. And so we completed several sessions, and she was really, really excited about the results that she was receiving through hypnotherapy. But she told me this has been an issue my entire life. And it had become so elevated during the summer months when women are wearing less clothes that she said, it's worse for me then. I want to make sure that I continue to sustain the work that we've done. And it's amazing to me, and really kind of unbelievable to me, that I could have this much success with this, because it's been such a huge issue. Sometimes I ask people, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate this? And she said a 12 when we began. And she said, now it's not existent at all, but I can't believe it because it was such a huge problem for me. So she said, I'm going to wait for a year and then I'll write to you.
Ooh, I love this because I'm sure I wouldn't say almost everyone, but at least 95% of women I feel have this issue, right? If they've ever been cheated on, if their heart was broken at all, if they caught their partner doing something, looking at another woman, talking to it, whatever the degree is. And when that happens, all of a sudden you have that subconscious memory in there. And so every time a woman, a bikini, a beach, summertime, all these different things come up. Even TV, poor lady, TV shows come on and someone's on there, you can't help but to be triggered by that memory, that old pain, and feel it again. And so, I mean, she's at a 12, and I could feel a lot of women are going, yeah, I know what that's like. A lot of my clients, they're saying, I'm checking his phone, or even for males, I'm checking their phone. I'm going through their, social medias. I'm like always worried that if they're home late, they're doing something, all of these things are kind of like webs from just our hearts being broken or being lied to, our trust being broken in the past. And so she was able to go from that 12 to 0. That is absolutely amazing, you guys. Oh, that could happen. If you're suffering from that right now, and I was at point in my life too. I'm going to be completely honest. Like I could speak for that. You can go to a 0. You can feel confident in your skin, right? And just trust in yourself and your partner just because it feels good, and you can create that experience as well, right?
Absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. And I do just also want to mention that she did write to me after the year was up. And it was so much fun to receive that email. And I knew what she was going to say because I've worked with so many people, and it's so exciting when they have those blocks removed because they're gone. They're not just hanging around waiting to come back.
Mhm.
Once they've been removed from the subconscious mind, they've been removed. So she said in her letter, I waited, I tested it.
We
I
like
had
to
to
test
make
things.
sure.
How beautiful. And you guys, again, zillions of stories like this. We're not our trust issues. What we come across, this pain, we're not our pain, we're not our past at all. Once those blocks, I like to call them programs, but when they are gone, they're just non-existent anymore. I mean, you may see them, but they're not affecting you. They're not taking over your life anymore. They're not hindering you and stopping you from the things you want to do when they're released. That is
Mhm.
powerful. You got another one of those?
I do, and I'm actually going to use one from my own life because I mentioned that when I first went into hypnotherapy class, that first like 2 minutes of class was about leaving someone.
Mm.
And it's funny because I didn't decide to do this until just now, but
Love it.
um, my first husband was a wonderful person. He is a wonderful person. But he had been in a relationship for 4 years prior to when we got together. In fact, right before we got together, in which his girlfriend, who had been the love of his life, um, had decided that she wanted to sow her wild oats. And she shared with him that she wanted to do that. He was a very open minded person. And he told her that he was okay with that until she decided that should be with all of his really good friends.
Mm.
So, needless to say, they broke up. And by the time he and I got together, of course, he really, really struggled with trust. And it got to a level where he would follow me to the grocery store, to the library, to the most mundane of places, because he was so afraid that the moment that he took his eyes off of whoever he was with, they would betray his trust. And it escalated to such a point to where we decided that we needed to separate and part ways. And I started going to hypnotherapy school. I ended up moving in with my grandmother, and my ex and I remained friends. And when I was, so remember, this was over 25 years ago. I was very young. I was working in retail at the mall, and he was one of my very first non-paid clients as I was going through school. So he would lay on a bench in the mall. This is a true story.
Love it.
He would lay on a bench in the mall, and I would put him into hypnosis and help him work on his trust issues.
Wow.
And I'm really excited to say that he is happily married with two beautiful daughters. And has been for years and years and years. So it was really, I wouldn't always recommend that somebody work with their ex-husband.
Yeah.
But in this case, it really, really worked out very well for all of us because, I went on to find love. He went on to find love. And it really helped me have a lot of faith in this process of hypnotherapy, to have received his lack of trust and then help him build it. It was really
Wow,
incredible.
that's powerful. I mean, that takes a really strong woman to be able to do that, considering all you went through with him, and then you guys still bonded that friendship and then really helped each other. That's an amazing story.
Thank you.
I love that. That's beautiful. It really shows no matter where you're at, down the rabbit hole you are and not being able to trust again in someone else or yourself, you can pivot. You can pivot through this process of getting down into where it actually lives, the subconscious mind, and let that go. I want to share a little story as well here, since we're on story sharing. A little while back, I actually reached a point where I knew I had gotten as far as I could go by myself. That's kind of what came to me, is that I needed to reach out and allow people in to my personal worlds. My family and my work, these are kind of like my babies, and I was just carrying the world on my shoulders of doing everything, the back end, the front end, everything on my own. And I was like, why am I doing that? Like, why am I working so hard, at everything? I'm a mother of four, right? So I'm doing a lot of things, the housekeeping, I'm the chef, I'm the maid, I'm everything, right? And so and I own multiple businesses. So it's like, wow, I got good. This was good, but I knew I couldn't go any further like this. I would probably break down. And so I actually reached out to Maude, and we did trade hypnotherapy sessions. And I can tell you right now, it was instant. Or I seen in different things in my childhood of where my head trust had been broken, release. I mean, just let go, melt away from my being, and my eyes opened, and my life has been changed completely of being able to trust, just being able to have a housekeeper like come on in, a school teacher come on in, people in different areas of my business come on in, and let's co-create and grow together. Where before I was kind of nervous to do that, just from past issues. You don't even know where they come from or that you even have these issues until one day you kind of like shaken up. And so I want to share that some of us aren't even aware that we have trust issues or that they're even affecting our life. But I want to kind of challenge you in this moment to stop and think, are there areas where you're kind of closed and afraid of almost in your any area of your life? I know you want a new position, but you're afraid to go to it, you know? You want to start your own business. You want to love again. You know, you want to trust in your word again. Whatever it is, sit with that and begin to create a process for healing. I can't tell you what to do. We love hypnosis, but if you look at that area, you can transform it. You really can. You can do this, you guys, and I send you so much love and empowerment to do that. And so does Maude sitting here, you guys, and we're being real. We're just putting our truths out there. We're just like anyone else. You guys, you can do this no matter what happened in the past. Promise. Oh, okay. I got on a tangent there.
It was a great tangent, and it was such an honor to be able to help you with that. I mean, you're such a superwoman dynamo. It's
Mm.
just like now you can free up even more of that energy so that you can do what you want to.
So it's all about, you guys. So it's all about. All right, can you share just a few more powerful words and tips for those that are like right now, they really want to trust again. They're kind of on that edge. Can you share some of your powerful energy and words?
Hmm. I really loved what you just said about, sometimes we have these areas that that are those areas that we might not be aware of. But if we're having some sort of symptom, like thinking you have to do everything, and recognizing that you think you have to do everything, like none of us have to do everything, right? I know for me, there are lots of things that I might do and kind of bumble along with, but somebody else would be much better at them, and if I can hand that over to somebody that would really enjoy doing that and is really good at that, then we're both happy. So I would say sometimes it's really about just going within, maybe even just for just a couple minutes will make a huge difference. And just ask yourself what's going on. Just allow your thoughts to slow down, and it doesn't need to be a lot. Sometimes we think when we're like, oh, I'm going to meditate and my mind will be clear, and that's not really what happens. Because the nature of the mind is to have a lot of thoughts. But if we don't try to push them away, we just close our eyes and let the thoughts start to just kind of slow down a little bit on their own, then once they've slowed down even just a little bit, that's a wonderful time to just ask ourselves, what's this about? What do I need to know? And you can even put your hand on your heart so that you're not just thinking, thinking, thinking. Once we put our hand here, then we're really much more able to go within and just ask, what do I need to know?
Mm. And our soul will speak. It always does, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. Can we, I love that advice, just slowing down. What is this all about? Asking it. Usually that's very healing in itself. You kind of put yourself in a hypnosis and your own relaxation and allow that, your wisdom to speak through you. And usually that'll be your pivot moment, your moment of awakening right there, letting go whatever crap you're holding on to and have that moment of transformation right then and there. I'm sure a lot of people are relating to this as you're saying that because I think innately we do this sometimes. We kind of just go in and talk to ourselves. Now we have purpose and intention. So what are we doing, right? Okay, Maud, I know we're running into through some time here, but can we get like a demo for those who've never experienced hypnosis before and want to give this thing a try of learning how to trust again? Can you demonstrate that for us?
You mean do a little bit of
Hypnosis?
hypnotherapy? Okay,
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You guys ready?
Okay, so Going to ask you to be just easy, quiet, and comfortable.
Okay.
Allow your eyes to close. And begin to allow your mind to clear. And instead of pushing any thoughts out of your mind, just allow any thoughts to move through your mind. Simply being aware of those thoughts. And they will naturally begin to slow down all on their own. And as you continue just to be aware of any thoughts, and allow those thoughts to move through your mind. You can even watch any thoughts as they move across your mind if you would like. Much as you might watch distant falling stars slowly streaking through the night sky, one by one, by one. And as you continue just to be aware of any thoughts, those thoughts will continue to slow down, and your mind will become even more clear. I'd like to ask you now to just to place your hand over your heart or your hands, whatever's more comfortable. And take a nice, deep, cleansing breath as those thoughts slow down even more. Just inhaling that trust in yourself, that belief in yourself and your abilities, that trust in the world. It's available to you right now in this moment, this calm and peaceful moment. Just inhale that in. You might even have a color, maybe like a beautiful silvery blue. And breathe out anything that's interfered with that, anything that's holding you back. Just breathe that out. You might even see that as smoke or as red or as a muddy color. And then once again, inhale. Trust in yourself and in the world and in others. And breathe out any old experiences, any old beliefs that no longer serve you, any lack of trust in yourself or others. Just breathe in one more deep cleansing breath. Taking in all that you need. Maybe it's permission to trust. Permission to trust in yourself and in others. And breathe out anything remaining not serving you. You can place your hand or hands comfortably back down. Just continuing to be easy, quiet, and comfortable. Just allow all levels of your mind to function in peace and balance, oneness, wholeness, unity, and totality. Know that you are able to trust. Know that you are trustworthy. Know that you are worthy. That you are whole. That you are strong. And then just take one more deep breath and breathe in peace. 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 And then slowly, slowly, when you are ready, come all the way back out. And open your eyes with full physical energies, returning and integrating completely. Conscious mind coming all the way back. All the way back.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maude. That was so beautiful and powerful. Woo! I want to hear from everyone that joined along in your experience. Send us an email. Send an email about that experience. What did you see release? What feelings did you have? What clarity do you have now? We would love to hear it. I'll make sure and get it to Maude too. We would love to hear this. Okay, Maude, let's now we're all trustworthy and trusting and feeling good. Can you get into your free gift? What is it that you're giving away today?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for including that for everyone. I'm so excited. What I'm giving away is called a perfect balance hypnotherapy technique. And what the perfect balance technique does for us is just create that. It creates balance within us. And it relieves stress. So it really helps us to go back into balance and to be resilient because, of course, we can't always change what's coming in from the outside. And we can't change what other people are doing or what they say to us from the outside, but we definitely can change how that affects us or doesn't affect us from the inside. And that's really what perfect balance does. It creates that state of balance and well-being no matter what is going on. So you can use it at any time. My very favorite times to use this technique are as you're falling asleep at night. Remember early on we talked about the example of falling asleep being actually hypnosis when we're on the way to sleep, but we're not quite there yet. So you can use that natural period of hypnosis for the perfect balance technique. So this is a download. All you have to do is push the play button. And then the other really, really nice time to use it is first thing in the morning as you're waking up. We also pass through the hypnotic state. You can use it at any time that you have some downtime. Of course, you don't want to use it while you're driving or doing something, but any time that you have time just to relax when the mind is in need of being a little bit more quiet.
Oh, that's such a beautiful gift. And that link is attached to this email where you found this video. So that's what it's all about. Download it, get it, add it to your audio, to your phone, to whatever device, and listen to it as your heart's desires, except for driving. And thank you, Maude, so much for your time, for your wisdom, your energy, and that hypnotherapy. That was a beautiful surprise at the end there. So thank you again, Maude. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Erica, and thank you so much for doing this for all of us. I love it, and I love that it's you doing it.
Mm.
Just exude happiness.
Yay! All right, you guys, if you love this powerhouse and this vital secret to your happiness, you're going to love the next episode, the next secret ingredient. So stay tuned, keep smiling, you guys, and have a beautiful day. Bye bye.